Freddie, and I'm the head of conversion, lead management, ISA department for Dan's team, the Beer Home team. And I work with teams across the country and solo agents across the country, helping them optimize their tech stack, help them improve their sales, their lead management, and just make sure that their sales staff is capitalizing on everything they can. And so what we're going to talk about today is something near and dear to my heart, is that sales does not need to be a numbers game. So, as working with the Beer Home team as the head of conversion and through my other work, I just naturally find myself listening to a lot of calls. I've been in the industry as a mortgage loan officer, a high producing agent, and an entrepreneur now for a decade. And it's probably been about 100,000 calls that I've made and 100,000 calls that I've listened to, especially back in my boiler room days. And through this, I truly have seen that for the majority of us sales agents, and I'm not even talking just in real estate, but all sales industries, for the majority of us, sales is a number game. And for a small minority of us, it's not. And so what I want to talk about in the 20 minutes that I have here today is to show you how sales does not need to be this numbers game. And obviously I've got 20 minutes, so I'm not going to be able to go as deep as I'd wanted, but let's go ahead and just get started, and hopefully I can shift some perspectives about sales. So first off, I just want to, kind of talk a little bit about this numbers game, right? You have probably heard many sales agents and sales trainers and these old sales gurus in all industries call sales a numbers game for like almost 100 years now. And the trainers and the agents who truly believe this and push this rhetoric forward, you'll hear them say common phrases like, you just need to develop thick skin for sales. The more no's you get, the more yeses you'll find. And we get an objection, we handle it, we close, and it's repeat. Give them the 1-2, handle their objection and close them. And this ends up with us making thousands of calls for just a few appointments. And the only sales or appointments that we make really are just lay down sales. And for those of you that aren't familiar with that term, a lay down sale, it's the person who is already sold before they pick up the phone to call you. They are going to work with the first person that answers their questions, that answers their call. They're going to call the first real estate agent they find that they've done a little bit of research on, that they feel comfortable with. If they answer, they're working with them. If they don't answer, they're calling the second person and trying to work with them. So through this numbers game, we're basically just trying to find those lay down sales. And the only way to find them is to make thousands of calls to filter through all these other leads to find those laydowns. And this is where this rhetoric and this coined phrase that sales is a numbers game has really come from. And so first, I want to talk a little bit about why it's a numbers game, but only for some people. So this numbers game is the start of this negative cycle that we can find ourselves in as salespersons. And through this negative cycle, we'll trick ourselves to really truly believe that sales is a numbers game. I remember when I first got into real estate 10 years ago, someone told me that sales is a numbers game, and I didn't believe it at first. But then I got a lot of no's slammed in my face, a lot of phones hung up on me, and I started to believe it was just a numbers game. You just need to call as many people as you can, get as many no's as you can, and find those yeses. But I've found through the last decade, these hundreds of thousands of calls that I've made, I've listened to, that it truly isn't. And the reason that it is and has become a numbers game for most of us is because we do this one thing that starts this whole cycle, or as I like to call it, the chase. And that's putting sales pressure on our clients, and it's enough sales pressure on them that they resist us, aka we get an objection on the call with them within like the first minute of us talking. And then what do? We try and handle that objection or slap a solution to it. And this is the start of the cycle. The chase really begins at this point. They resist. We try and apply broad strokes of solutions because we truthfully don't really know their problems yet. And we may even try and tout, well, no, we're the number one team here, and we've helped more buyers and sellers than anybody. I'm a top producer. I'm nationally recognized. But unfortunately, even if you actually are, statistically, factually the number one team, it's funny how many people in their Instagram bios, on their LinkedIn, on their Zillow profiles, are also the number one team in that county, and also a top producer, and also in the top 0.01%. And so our clients don't really care. And when we haven't uncovered their true problems and we try and slap these solutions to it, it just misses the mark, because without knowing their true problems, we're just making assumptions and our value really isn't resonating with them. And that's the chase. And then I'm sure a lot of us know what happens after that chasing phone call. We get ghosted. We go ahead and call and we follow up and we never hear from them. We send them text messages, video text messages, emails. We call them 17 times in a row and they just never answered. And it's funny, they actually may even be looking at homes on our website pretty actively, but they're never answering our calls and they're never responding to our text message. But you know what? It actually makes sense if you really think about it. I mean, really, really think about this. Someone answers our phone call. Maybe they were a brand new lead and they registered something, registered on our website or a Facebook ad, but we have a new lead in our system and we call them. And within the first minute of us getting to know each other, the first time they've ever spoken to us and we've ever spoken to them, we create a pressured environment that makes them feel so stressed that they try and resist our pressure, aka giving us objections. Can you imagine if you went on a first date and it went like that? You created this pressured environment for the person that you're on this date with, and they started to feel stressed because of the pressure that you're putting on them, and so they resist. And then you just try and bulldoze through that resistance, that objection with, well, I'm amazing, I'm number one, well, we do this, and these are all of these solutions that our company offers. I mean, there wouldn't be a second date after that. I can't imagine. So why would there be a second call? Why would someone who we've made feel pressured and stressed in their first time meeting each other take our call in the future? They probably save our phone number in their phone as, oh, the person who stresses me out. It's the last thing that we want to do. And that's why we end up finding ourselves playing this numbers game, because we're creating this sales pressure and our clients don't want to talk to us anymore. So we just weed through to find these, again, lay down sales. It doesn't need to be this way. Sales does not need to be a numbers game. Instead of it just increasing the numbers of calls that we make every day to meet our goals, we can just inversely increase our skills and focus on honing in these sales skills or communication skills, if you will, so that we can increase and meet our goals. And if you want to get out of the numbers game, there's one thing to focus on first. Obviously, there's a lot of different things that we can do to get out of the numbers game and increase our sales skills. But the number one thing that we need to focus on is learning how we create sales pressure on our clients, and then through what we ask and say, how we can eliminate it so that we don't get ghosted after our first phone call with them. So what I want to go over today and give you all to go home with is five ways that we can have and reduce our sales resistance. And so the first one here is going to be having a calm and relaxed tone of voice, which may sound very counterintuitive to a lot of us. A lot of us hear from our sales trainers, our sales coaches, a lot of these gurus, that we need to inject this excitement, this artificial excitement into the conversation, keep it upbeat. But what happens when we come across the phone or even in a person-to-person consultation overtly excited, our clients don't perceive it, our excitement, as that we're excited to help them. They perceive our excitement that we're excited to make a sale, aka a commission. They can smell our sales breath. So it's best to be calm and relaxed, and instead of trying to match their tone and have this artificial energy, you're best off trying to match their cadence. And for those of you that don't know, cadence is just how quickly you speak in between your words. It's the flow of the words that you're leaving out of your mouth, and people like to be spoken to in the same way that they communicate. So if you start matching someone's cadence, they'll start to feel really comfortable because you sound like they sound. You don't want to be overly excited. It means and equals sales breath to our clients. relax, take some deep breaths, and have some natural pauses. So it just sounds like you're having a real conversation with a real person and you're not reading a script. The second way that we can focus on eliminating sales pressure is identifying if there's even a sale to be made. And if there is, what is that sale? In our industry, there's many different sales that are made along the journey of us working with someone. A couple examples are a next phone call. And this isn't a loose, oh yeah, I'll call you Tuesday, Dan. It's a specific time and a date, and I'm sending a calendar invite. But it's just a call. It's not a showing. It's not a buyer or listing consultation, which are also different types of sales. The sale that might be available is getting them to the first showing or the first consultation, or even getting an agreement signed to start working together. But we need to make sure that we're identifying if there is a sale, and when we're identifying the sale, what type of sale it is. And this actually walks us right into the next point here, and the next 2 points actually, which is detaching yourself from the outcome of the sale. I say this all the time. When you're emotionally attached to the outcome of the sale, you're not open to the many different ways that the conversation could go. So you end up steering the conversation, or I like to say, you're letting your agenda show. When you steer the conversation to try and work it towards a sale, because that's what you want, because you want that commission that you're attached to, the conversation will start to go down a route that makes your client feel that pressure. And so they'll resist and they'll redirect the conversation the way that they want it to go. Now, because you have an emotional attachment to the sale, whether you know it or not, your demeanor changes, your tone changes. You can almost hear the wind sometimes get sucked out of you because you're feeling like, I'm back in the numbers game. This person isn't going to say, I'm not going to get a sale here. Oh my gosh. And so you're attached to it. If we release this attachment, we have no emotional stake in the sale, we will be open for the conversation to go any route. And when we're open for the conversation to go any route, we will build deeper relationships with our clients, and we'll find out problems about their sales process, about their buying or selling process that we never even knew about, or maybe have even heard from previous clients. And this walks then right into this next one, is asking the right questions. So this means so many different things. We need to ask the right questions for the stage that they are in the sales cycle. We need to ask the right questions for the type of sale available. So an example is, if I have a Facebook lead come in, I know in my market, they're usually 12 months out, right? I have a Facebook lead coming in, so they're in more of a top of the funnel position. They're 12 months out. The type of sale that's probably available to be made is not getting an agreement signed. It might not even be a buyer's consultation because they're so far out, but it might be a commitment to a next follow-up call at a very specific time. And that's a sale that we can make. And so if we're asking for the right appointment or for the right sale based on where they are in the cycle, we won't create this pressure. Can you imagine someone scrolling Facebook? They see a house they like. We make them do this little dance with us where they have to give us their contact info, so we'll show them the rest of the photos. And then we call and ask if they want to see it or if they want to sit down to hear about our Buyer Advantage program. It's going to make them feel stressed and pressured because they're so far out. They just want some information. So when I'm talking to those clients, I'm asking if they got the information they need or if they're still searching, and if it would be appropriate if we go ahead and have another conversation in a couple of months on a specific day and time. That's the right sale, and those are the right questions to ask. So last and not least is to be and sound different than every other sales agent. And it's not a typo. I put sales agent, not realtor, but sales agent. Think about how many times, in real estate, our phone numbers are out there publicly, right? So we probably get a lot more spam calls than everybody else, but think how many times your phone rings every single day from someone trying to sell you something. Our consumers are the same way. They click on an ad somewhere, they give a phone number, they interact on someone's website that's in a different industry. They're getting so many sales calls every day from everything from like the extended car warranty people to us trying to call them about real estate. So when we're agenda driven, we play the numbers game, we sound like everybody else. And when we sound like everybody else, it's very easy, and our clients are quick to know we're a sales agent. And so their guard is up and they start to resist and object almost instantaneously. And so if we can be and sound different, we won't be giving away that we're a sales agent right away. And our clients, our leads, may be a little bit more open to talking to us. I see I have a couple minutes here, and so I want to touch on my bonus, and I'm happy that I have a chance to share my bonus here. So while you're working on these skills and eliminating sales pressure for yourself, one of the best ways and easiest ways to sound and be different than every other sales agent is your opener. Most openers from every industry sound something like this. I'll use a real estate one. Hey, this is Freddie from eXp Realty. I saw that you requested some information on my website, and I just wanted to reach out and see how your home search is going and see if I could be a resource for you. If you sell advertising, it's a pretty similar call, but you just say, I saw you requested some information on advertising, and I just wanted to see how your search for the right advertiser has been going and see if I could be a resource for you. It's really similar. Or they all do something like, hey, Dan? Or can I speak with Dan? Is he available? Instantly, you know it's a salesperson. So if we use a different opening script that can pique curiosity with our clients and not resistance, we will get ourselves the allowance of about 15 seconds of a two-way conversation of our client truly listening to us. And so rather than them trying to instantly resist, we get the luxury of them to listen to our first question. And so it's important that that first question meets them where they're at in the sales cycle, so you don't create any undue sales pressure, even with these new scripts. And so I'll share these two scripts here very quickly. So for new leads, this is the script I use every time. Hey, Dan, this is Freddie from the Beer Home Team. I was just trying to catch you right before I walk into my next appointment here in a few minutes. I saw you requested some information about the property on 123 Home Street. Did you get all the information you were looking for? Or are you still searching? I'm going to use that script with that last question for a more top of the funnel, like a Facebook lead. If it's more of a bottom of the funnel lead, like a realtor.com or a Zillow lead, I will ask if they want to see the property because that matches and meets where they're at. The second script I'm going to use, you can use for new leads, but you can also go ahead and use for old and cold leads. And it goes something like this. It's going to be, hey, Dan, this is Freddie from the Beer Home Team. I was actually calling to see if you could just help me out for a quick second. Almost everyone's going to say yes. It's so rare that someone says no. And then I go, well, you requested some info on a property here, and it looks like maybe I dropped the ball. We haven't connected yet. I was curious if you got the information you're looking for, or you're still searching for a top of the funnel lead. For bottom of the funnel lead, I'm going to ask if they want to see the property. And what we do with this is we create that two-way conversation. So our client listens to us. We get our first question out of the way without that instant resistance. And then if we're calm and relaxed, we're detached from the outcome of the sale. We identify if there's a sale to be made, and we ask the right questions. We'll build deeper relationships and more rapport. And if you don't believe me, I have helped several agents on our team at the Beer Home Team here utilize these scripts, avoid the numbers game. And I'm not talking brand new agents to our team, brand new agents to the whole entire industry. And I'll tell you, a lot of them are finding themselves in the middle of 3 escrows right now. And it's not because they're playing the numbers game. It's because instead of just calling more, they're honing their sales skills.